Hi guys, welcome back to my um, video series, Agile Development 101. Again, we have a little time-lapse video where I am working through the last card of my sprint, which is ability to record shipment cargo. This one turned out to be a lot longer, a lot more work than I expected. I gave it one story point, but it turned out to be almost exactly as much work as the last card I did, which I gave 3 story points. So it took me 90 minutes, just like the last one. And, um, and so that shows you that my estimation abilities probably aren't um, perfect yet. And I still have a long way to go before I can accurately predict timelines. If I'm off by so much, then it's going to be difficult. I think, though, overall, it wasn't such a bad estimate for the sprint, because I thought it would take me about a day, and it ended up taking in total about 5 hours of work, which is about how much time I get on a day on the weekend. Um, and so, yeah, about this particular um, card, as I worked through it, I found a whole lot more work that, well, maybe not a whole lot more, but I found a number of items that I needed to work on to get it going. Um, and so as soon as I found them, I added them to the card under stuff to do. And so you'll see me periodically going back and typing that in, because all work should be proactively identified and recorded on the sprint backlog. That's part of Scrum. Um, any work that's not kind of recorded is invisible, and that means it won't be taken into account by the product owner. It won't be taken into account by other people on your team. It won't be taken into account by anybody who's doing any kind of resource planning. So it's really important to identify work and make sure it's there, right? It's not a lot of overhead to just type a line item under stuff to do, but it gives a sense of um, what your resources are doing, how productive they're being. If I left the list alone, I didn't add any of the new items, I just checked off the ones that were there to begin with, it would seem like that's all I did. But actually, I ended up doing roughly double that, maybe triple that. And so it's good that I add those items under the to-do list. Yeah, so the other thing that kind of came up here was right now I'm editing server code, and what to do with when a new shipment is created. And so while I was making this, I was thinking, okay, I was thinking a little bit ahead. There's some relationship between the quote and the shipment, and there's some relationship between the customer and the shipment. How am I going to reflect that? Is it a two-way binding? Is it a one-way binding? Um, and what sort of validations do I have to do? You can see I just wrote a validation on the quote. If the quote ID is invalid, then it rejects the it won't let you create a new shipment. And so there's a lot of validations you can think of up front. But so I started thinking about it, and then I thought better of it. Um, and instead of um, trying to think ahead too much, I only included the single validation that was useful for my starting scenario. I can always go back and make this function or this method stronger whenever I need to. So there's no need to work ahead and create more work for yourself than is necessary at the time. Um, and there's no guarantee that my assumptions about the validations will be correct. So I might end up wasting my time by adding a whole bunch of behavior that I end up needing to rewrite, because I wasn't far enough along to understand what was really needed. And so what I did was I kept it as simple as possible, and that saved me a lot of time here. It probably saved me a lot of time in the future. I have a much simpler function to work with, whenever I need to revise it. So that will make adding to it easier. Um, and I also have a comprehensive test suite for the limited behavior that's on those methods. Right, so this was the last bit of work in my sprint. Um, so what I'm going to do is next video, we're going to do a sprint review. So I'm going to give a demo. This is a bit too fast for a demo, so maybe it's not clear what all is going on while you're watching it. But I'm going to give a proper demo and give myself some feedback, and then take that into the backlog. And then I'm going to do a retrospective, because there's some things that I've been thinking about as I've been doing this, some ways I could raise the quality bar that I think would be useful. And so we'll do both of those things, and then we will plan the third sprint. And we're getting closer and closer to the 1.2, I want to say, 1.2 release. So right, yeah. So well, no, this is the 1.2 release, and then we're getting closer and closer to the 2.0 release, which is the shipment editor. Okay, so that's it. There's a little bit more work on here, but I don't have anything else to say about this. So enjoy the rest of the video, and see you next time.